Chasing the American dream left me beat, battered, bruised, and broken. I was almost there though. Guys, I was so close to the American dream. And then I lost it all of it. So I decided to start a new dream, my own dream. Follow a spiritual path instead. Tahirah here from Instructions for Humanity. I'm going to jump right into why I stopped chasing the American dream to follow my own dream, a spiritual path instead. Many of you might know I have a television background. You know, I was a television producer. I was an associate producer on the Judge Judy show. I worked on the Judge Joe Brown show, worked on all of these shows, multiple shows for many years in LA. And, you know, that's what I did. I started off as a child actor. I was acting at 13, 15, 16. I've always had money coming in, checks coming in. So I guess, continued on that path because I thought that is what I was supposed to do. So I went to LA when I was 18, right out of high school, just to continue on my path. I went to film school. And guys, I struggled. I struggled a lot. I remember staying in like a roach infested apartment with one of my good friends, Kiana. We were roommates. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment in Glendale, California. It was like $1,300, something like that at the time. I'm sure it's more expensive now, but it was roaches everywhere on the wall, just in your stuff. I literally had to start sleeping in my car just to get some peace. And, you know, ultimately, yes, it was the roaches that ran me out of that place. And so, guys, I became homeless. You know, I slept in my car multiple times for many years, you know, on and off, you know, still in film school, you know, have to hustle to work odd jobs to pay my school fees, you know, because at that time they said my parents made too much money for me to get financial aid. So I had to hustle and work all these horrible jobs like telemarketing and all of this stuff that I hated, you know, just so that I could continue on my path. So I did it, you know, and guys, it got so bad that this is when I knew I hit rock bottom on the living situation. It got so bad to the point where I was sleeping in like a music rehearsal studio and pissing in a cup. Yes, pissing in a cup, guys, because it wasn't a place to sleep. It wasn't a hotel. It was just like a rehearsing studio. No one even knew I was sleeping in there, you know? And I was in there with dangerous people. It'd be like random men coming in and out throughout the night, you know? And even that was like $20, I think, a day, you know, to rent. So it's just been a struggle. And then while I was in film school, I was actually, you know, in the music industry too. Me and my best friend Rodana, we were in multiple music groups together, but then we were in a writing group where we would write songs and try to get them placed on, like, you know, artists like Rihanna, Beyonce, you know, Mary J. Blige, Brandy, everybody, you know. And we were so talented, but you know how the industry is so like male driven, and these males, these certain men rather, they want you to do certain things. And, you know, I just really wasn't about that life. You know, I just really wasn't willing to sell my soul just to get a check. You know, it's like, it wasn't that deep to me. And, you know, at the time, my boyfriend, my first boyfriend ever I had, he was actually a music producer, you know, and me and him started a group together. And we were very actually popular. We would do a lot of the big venues around Hollywood. And I mean, we were even getting fans. Like, I had fans. It was crazy. But he was like jealous in a way, not necessarily of like other men talking to me. He was jealous in a way where it was like he didn't want me to be more successful than him. And so I remember one time, like a famous record executive approached him, and he kind of like, about me. And he kind of like just threw me under the bus and never told me about it until like years later. I found out about it, that they were interested in me, interested in, you know, signing me. So he beat me a lot. I mean, it turned into like a real life Ike and Tina situation. I think that's how he wanted to get the control, you know? And I remember one day, he just like drove up to my house in like a rage. And all of a sudden he jumped out of the car, and all of a sudden he just boom, 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 boom. I fell on the ground. I hit my head on the curb, and then I was rushed to the hospital. I had multiple stitches in my head. They had to shave my hair, multiple stitches, and even some staples in my head. And even to this day, some of my hair still hasn't grown back in that spot where the, you know, where all the cuts were. And, you know, he was controlling me because he had all the masters to my music, to everything I had worked hard for what? 7, 8 years. You know, he was using that, you know, to keep me there, you know. Even to this day, like this eye is kind of like looks off to in a different direction than this eye. It's from all the pounding, all the beats and blows to the head, you know. And so ultimately I left that situation, you know, and I went back and I focused on, you know, my degree, because at that time I had graduated from film school. So I would do like audience work. And for those of you who are not from LA, audience work is where you, let's say you go to like a game show or something, and you'll get paid to actually clap and be part of the audience, so the audience looks, you know, animated, you know. And I would actually bring my resume and talk to the crew and the staff, you know, in between takes. And one day, and I'll never forget this, guys, one day, I was living in Hollywood at the time, and it was like 120-degree weather. It was like a heat wave. And I had on sandals. I remember I had on like these brown sandals, strappy sandals, and they were flat, you know, and I was running to the bus stop so I could catch the bus, so I wouldn't miss the bus to take me to do the audience work, because I needed to pay my rent and I needed that money because they paid in cash every day. And as I was running, I guess there was like a crack in the sidewalk, and it just propelled me forward, and my sandal got caught and it broke. And guys, when my sandal broke, it was like my spirit broke, because it was like that sandal was holding me up. Like, it was like the sandal was synonymous with everything that I've been through in LA. And when my sandal broke, it all fell apart. It all fell apart. Sorry. It all fell apart. I was just trying to hold it all together. I was almost there. And then I had to walk home. I walked home. And when I got home, I looked at the bottom of my foot and it was all burnt. It was all burnt up from the heat wave. But that did eventually pay off, because I think like 6 months later, I did actually break into the industry, the television industry, by doing the audience work. So it did pay off. And I started working on all these shows, and my first job was The Moment of Truth. It was a reality TV show. And then from there, you know, I did like, you know, America's Got Talent and all of these big shows, you know. And then I got my dream job. I started working as a television producer, associate producer at the Judge Judy show, Judge Joe Brown show. And I did multiple other projects as well in music videos and things like that. I was like, I made it. I'm finally here. But I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know what I was going to have to do to actually keep that job. You know, it was, to me, it was like very unethical, you know, and that's just me, you know. It was very unethical because we would have to go to both sides. You tell one side, oh, you have a strong case, you have a good story, you know, you're likely to do good, you're likely to win, you know. And then you go to the other side and like, how dare they do this to you, and you should countersue them because of X, Y, and Z. And then, I mean, we were like the little angel and the little devil, you know, on their shoulders, pending people at each other. Sometimes two friends would come to the show. You know, we would get a lot of people from Middle America. They just wanted to come to LA with their friend and be on the show. And I mean, we would start causing real problems in their lives because we're like here playing God, you know? And so one day, and I remember this, one day this lady came to the show. It was actually, she came with her daughter. And I guess it didn't go the way that they had wanted it to go. So they were really upset. The daughter was really, really upset. And I remember like the next day I received an email from the mom, and she said these words to me, and I'll never forget it. As long as I live, I'll never forget it. She said, "How do you sleep at night?" And that's when I knew I couldn't do that job. I knew that I couldn't do it because, yes, I wanted this. This is what I had done my whole life. There was some great money, you know, as well, but it wasn't worth hurting people. And I became an even worse person. Like when I was a producer, like I would answer my phone, and instead of saying hello, I would say, "Go." It's like, really? So it's like the thing that you even want, it's making you a worse person. So is that really what you should be doing if it's making you act that way? So sometimes, guys, we could be chasing a dream or chasing something that we're not even meant to do. And when I finally left that job a few weeks later, I wrote a resignation letter and I left. Sent it out to everyone in the office. And I remember saying this. I said, God calls us higher to help people in need, not to exploit them. And just like that, I left. And then shortly after, I took off to Europe, and I lived in London for a while. I stayed in Paris for a while, like a month, and I lived out the things that I had been waiting for, because at this time I had wasted like 10 years of sacrificing, never been able to travel. That's why now I just love to travel, because I just went so long without doing the things that I really truly wanted to do, the things that truly made me feel good, you know? And they're really the simple things. It's the simple things. I like hiking. I like being in nature. That's where I feel connected more to Source, connected more to God. I love that. And, you know, maybe my ideal of life is not for another person, but it's not supposed to be, you know, because the thing about it is, until you actually follow your true divine God-given path, which is what you set out to do before you came into existence, until you follow that, you're going to be just going in circles, and you're going to end back right where you started. It happened to me multiple times. Just even a few years later, I had a business. The business was, you know, we had scaled the business to like over, you know, $350,000 a year. And it all went down in flames, you know, during COVID. All went down in flames so quickly. And I lost everything day after day. everything leaving until there was nothing left. When I say nothing left, I mean nothing. I'm actually worse off than when I started because now I have all those business loans, right? So chasing all these grandiose things got me right back to where I started, and even worse off. So I've been literally beat, bruised, burnt, broken, and now broke. I'm back where I started. But guess what? I'm whole now because I now know that I am the God particle. I now know that God resides in me because of everything that I went through. It has strengthened me. And I'm standing in my divine essence of who I am. And you can't buy it with money. You can't. This feeling I have, I feel so secure in who I am. No amount of money could ever amount to the way I feel. And the ironic thing is, even just talking to you guys, sharing my stories, sharing my truth, it's like I have everything I ever wanted and more. And the ironic thing is that I don't have any material wealth, but I'm happy. I'm happier now, you know? I'm able to do these videos now. I'm able to channel spirit now, which is what I do. I'm able to write my books now. I've thrown away that playbook that this is what you're supposed to want for the American dream. You know, the 2 cars and the house with the white picket fence. Thrown that out. And now I'm discovering every day what my dream is, right? Because the American dream is, well, it's just that. It's a dream. Dreams are not real unless they are a dream realized, which is what I'm doing here right now, talking to you guys. So the only thing I want to say is, until you follow your divine path, stop running somebody else's race. Stop looking to your right and to your left. Have tunnel vision and follow your divine path, and it will take you far, and you'll be happy. Even if you have nothing, you will have everything and more. So guys, thank you for tuning in today and listening to my story on why I quit the American dream and decided to follow a spiritual path instead. So I hope this resonated with any of you beautiful people out there. Guys, subscribe to the channel, like, and all of that good stuff, guys. Don't worry. Just have your own dream. You don't need to have an American dream. You can make your own dream, guys. I'm going to say it, guys. Love is the way, forgiveness is the key, and truth is the light that guides us home. Be well.